Alita! What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. I feel like I am the last person on YouTube to review this, and it's not even come out yet. I am talking about Alita Battle Angel. This channel is a place where we love to talk about movies, and this video is your space to talk about Alita Battle Angel. Get in the comment section down below. Let me know, did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you looking forward to it? Now let's get into the review. So a deactivated female cyborg is revived but cannot remember anything of her past life and goes on a quest to find out who she is. And yes, we are finally talking about Alita. I feel like this film has shifted release dates so many times. We are finally here, dropping in the middle of February. I believe it's a good time because it's definitely going to make more money than it was in its prior release date, which was right when Aquaman and Bumblebee was hitting. Not a good time to drop if you want to make any money. And I gotta be honest with you guys to start this thing off, I saw the first trailer and I was not that impressed. I did not love the CGI, the big eyes were really bothering me, and I just did not know if the story could work because it looked to me like it was going to be this big, jumbled, complicated CGI, overly CGI mess. That's just the impression I got from the first trailer. It's a bad mindset to have when you're going into a film, and it's not the mindset that I had going into this movie because as the trailers progressed, I slowly started to come around. Now, I wasn't super excited walking into this movie tonight. I've really only liked one of the trailers so far. I have heard decent things, but nothing overwhelmingly positive, so I walked in, tried my best to tune out the rest of the world, negativity and all, and I walked out genuinely having had a really good time with this film. This is a solid movie with some great world building, characters that you will latch onto, and a great lead in Rosa Salazar. This girl is a star, and she proved it here in this film. She is awesome. And yes, James Cameron's name is attached, screenplay and producer, but he is not directing this movie. Robert Rodriguez is directing this movie. I'm just kind of here and there with his films, so I did not know what to anticipate from a directorial standpoint, but he did a good job of creating this world, standing by what he created, and setting the tone from the beginning of the film. Listen, if you're not on board with this tone and what this movie is going to be within the first 15-20 minutes, then I don't think you're going to like the entire movie because you have to be on board at that point. It is a very similar yet different style film. I often complain about when a movie gets overly cheesy and over the top, but this movie I think has a right to do things in that vein. Now, it doesn't get too much, but it does just enough to, I believe, seem off-putting to a certain audience. Listen, if you don't like Alita, I understand why you don't like it because I do have my qualms and my issues with the story and the storytelling at times, the pacing, and the fact that I didn't really care about a lot of these side characters, and I feel as if some of these really good Oscar-winning actors were wasted in the film, and I'll get into that in a second. But I want to start with the positives. I want to hit on why I enjoyed this film and why I was so surprised because honestly, and I already said it, I didn't think I would like this movie this much. It's just something that hasn't really worked so far. Hollywood has been unable to adapt something from anime and do it in a way that I think is going to appease fans. Alita may be the first movie to do that. Now, does it overly succeed? No. But I think it does its job. I really do, and it gives you enjoyment in the theater, the theatrical experience. Now, I will admit and I will say that not everyone's going to have the same experience as me because I watched it in IMAX 3D, and I know it's a lot of money, but if I had to recommend a format to watch this in, I would say IMAX 3D. And how was the 3D, you ask? Well, it's so funny because the last movie I watched in 3D was actually Avengers Infinity War, but before that, my wife and I watched Ghost in the Shell in 3D. I kid you not, that was an anime adaptation that did not work for a lot of people, but when we're talking strictly the 3D with that film, it wasn't something that enhanced the experience. It actually took away from it because it darkened the entire movie that was already dark. But with Alita, the 3D did not take away from the experience. It actually enhanced it. The 3D in this film was good, and the IMAX format, I do believe, suited it because the action scenes in certain battles in this movie, they are so well choreographed, very well done from a technical standpoint, and the visuals in Alita, one of the most visually stunning movies, and I'm not just saying this, this is one of the best looking movies I've seen in quite a long time in terms of scale and how epic the presentation is. Just on a technical level, listen, even if you believe the story completely and utterly falls flat, I'll give you that, but you have to appreciate how this movie looks and feels and how they went about doing it, and the scale, the epic nature, the color correction, the design of all of the buildings and the world. At times it feels like the way that Ready Player One was set up, but not in a bad way. And at other times, the way this future looks and feels, it felt like Blade Runner. It had that design, that look, that feel that you want for a movie like this. All of those things this film has down pat. Now, like I said, the problem that I have with the movie is the plot and where it goes and the predictable nature and the fact that you have Mahershala Ali, a one-time, probably in a few weeks, two-time Oscar-winning actor, and you manage to make him seem like a throwaway character, a character that has moments and had the potential to have more moments, but he never got those moments. He's really just kind of a conduit, a puppet, if you will, for this evil presence, this bigger villain, but the payoff in that regard, I didn't think worked that well. Because they do all of this setting up for all of these different storylines that some of them I was actually invested in, others not so much. Some of the side characters and the romantic relationship that's going on in the movie, I did not buy it completely. I did in some respects because Alita is just so cool and so good of a character. I bought her. I liked her. I was with her throughout the entire film, and even though I didn't buy the relationships completely, I bought her in that relationship, and because of that, I was invested from beginning to end, and the story never really lost me, even if I could predict most things that were going to happen. And you get to the end of this film, and there is so much left to be desired about where this film could go in the future, and where I don't know if it will go, because I don't know the dent that this movie, the impact that it will have at the box office. It has to make a lot of money to get a sequel. I don't know if it's going to make that amount of money. I want it to, don't get me wrong, because I want to see where this story goes, but the ending to this film is not an ending that is going to resolve most of the plot points. There is a lot left wide open. I don't know if this ending is going to work for a lot of people. Now, it did for me because I was satisfied with the story that we got, and I kind of knew it was going to set up for a potential future in this universe. Whether we get that, I don't know. I'm just here to say that I did not anticipate being this attached to this story. A story that I believe the visuals kind of distract you from. They distract you from the lack of plot. Some will say the story is surface level, and I can't necessarily disagree with that. Like I said, the plot is my biggest issue with the movie, and my detachment from certain characters. I feel like the film would have worked as a whole, and I would have given it a higher score if I cared about this relationship, if I cared about those minor friends, the minor roles in the movie that you should care about. But I was kind of distracted by the visuals and all of the special effects and the choreography and the fight scenes, the action, the world, and the world building, which I believe is just as important as a good story. If you can nail one out of those two, that's still nailing something. And for me, a guy walking into this film a bit hesitant with no knowledge of what this movie was based on, I learned a lot. I'm invested in the lore now. I actually want to go back and check out what this is based off of. And because of all of those things, I can say Alita did its job, and it is an absolute blast in the theater. Watch this, like I said, on the biggest screen possible with the best speakers and the best visuals. I promise you will not regret that. And because of all of those things, I had a good time with Alita. This is one of my biggest surprises of the last few months. It's one of the more fun movies I've watched this year, and I'm going to give Alita Battle Angel a 70%. Solid film. What this film may lack in certain characters and plot and script, it makes up in world building and action and choreography, and the character of Alita, like I said, one of my favorite characters of the year so far. She's awesome. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Get down in the comments section below. Let me know, did you like it? Did you not like it? Tomorrow, I have 2 more reviews dropping for you guys. Happy Death Day to you, which I'm very excited about. That should be dropping in the middle of the day around 3 or 4 o'clock. And later on in the day, isn't it romantic? That movie looks hilarious. Can't wait to see that as well. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I'll be back tomorrow and then Friday with more Netflix reviews. And I'll catch you very soon.